Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be comparing a few different magnifiers. So I've got EOTech here, I've got Holosun, both of these are 3x. Then I got the Vortex 6x, and then I've got the Feyachi, which is a variable 1.525. Okay, this being the cheapest. This is like an $80 Amazon level optic. So the way I'm going to test this is I got this light over here that I'm going to shine through the front, right? And then I want to see where that comes into focus, which on the EOTech is right there. Then I'm going to take this tape measure and measure it out, and it looks like I am at 1 3/4 inches. Okay, so 1 3/4 inches. So let's get the EOTech off. That's the G33. Okay, EOTech G33. And down over there. All right, let's go to Holosun. Okay, so Holosun 3x, same deal. Let's shine this light over here. See where it comes into focus. Right there. So that's 2.5 inches. Okay, so the Holosun gives us really good eye relief. 2.5 inches. Okay. Let's try the Vortex 6x. So the EOTech's like $500 plus, right? This one over here, $500. The Holosun is like $150 to $200 depending on what deals you find. The Vortex, when I bought it, was $400. Now I see them as cheap as $300. So let's see what we got here. Shine the light there. Right there. So Vortex is 2 3/8 inches eye relief. Okay, 2 3/8 inches eye relief. Let's get you off. And now let's try Feyachi. So this is a variable magnifier from 1.5 up to 5. I'm just going to go straight to 5 because in working with it, I found that the 5 actually gives you like the best. Like when you're actually looking through it, it's going to work the best in the 5 magnification. When you get to the small magnification, you get just a lot more constriction. So it actually gives you the least constriction when you're in the 5x. So that's why I'm just going up to 5x, which is where it is right now. Okay, so right there. No, actually, hold on. I got most of my hand. Let me use my pad here because otherwise I need something that's flat, not going to move. Right there. So that is 2 inches. Okay, 2 inches eye relief. Now I'm curious if I change the magnification. Let me go all the way down to 1. Is that going to change the eye relief? So it's at 1.5 now. Right there. No, about the same. I might have lost a little bit, like 1/8 of an inch, but it's about the same. Okay, so the worst one is the EOTech. Let's get you down. Get this off. Let's go back to EOTech. Let's look at that one more time. Oops. deal with the light here. And you can do this with an LPVO, you can do this with everything. So yeah, it's actually less than 2 inches. It's like, yeah, it's like 1 3/4 basically. Okay. All right, let's go through a bunch of other things. All right, so when I started this out, I was initially working with other optics, and I said, you know what? Since the EOTech is like seems to be sucking so bad right now, the G33, I said, let me pull out an actual EOTech red dot, because maybe that's what this thing was, you know, meant to be used with. Okay, so I've got a target at 100 yards, and what I've been doing is so there's that eye relief issue where, like, first of all, I gotta get my eyeball a lot closer to this glass. So I'm looking in there. I'm getting a sense, like, because I got trees and stuff out there to the side, like when my dot is on the target, like how far can I see to the left of the target? Like, what's my max range? Okay, so I got that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch it out, and I'm gonna put the Holosun on. So with the Holosun, same thing. I'm holding on that same target, and like my max range is about the same, but it's just a much more comfortable picture. Mostly because I had an eye relief issue where I can just come off the target, pull my hood back so you guys can see what I'm doing with my face here. You know, I can get on the target, and like I don't see any shadow. Like I don't see shadow around the sides. I don't have to sit there and play with my head back and forth. Let me go back to the EOTech. So yeah, I gotta, cause see, it's like a struggle where I'm going back and forth trying to find like the best position where I'm not going to see shadow. Because of that, actually it's not. This is an eye box issue. But I gotta keep going back and forth. There's smoke coming down. I want it in the ejection port. So there's a lot more work involved with moving my head back and forth to try and find like the perfect spot so I don't see that shadow. Get the Holosun on there. And yeah, I mean, no matter where my head lands on this thing, I got a much better image with the Holosun. Let's try the Vortex. Now the Vortex is a 6x. Now the thing here, yeah, the height on this is not perfect, because basically I need a riser for this. I'll try and lift it up just a little bit. Sometimes I can get it to kind of stay. No, it's almost stay. Give me a second. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put a little penny, flip it over, see if I put a penny underneath there. Yeah, it'll get a little bit high. So yeah, it's gonna be a little bit off to the side, but still, even with this being slightly offset, now I as far as like the field of view, it is much less because it is a 6x, so I have less of a field of view. But as far as like just getting, getting off this this gun and just getting back on it, I'm not moving my head back and forth. Like wherever my head happens to land, it's kind of decent. I mean, it's not as easy to work with as a 3x because it is a 6x, so it's a lot less forgiving. But I can just get on it and lower the brightness a little bit because it's 6x, and that works. I mean, let's get that penny out of there. And again, I was cheating it. I was like, I basically put a penny underneath there so that this wouldn't close all the way. I mean, instead of I've had the riser on and off here, so I kind of got tired with going back and forth with riser, so that's why I put the penny there. And even with that, it's really not an issue. Let me try. Where's that guy? So this is the Feyachi 125. So this doesn't have the quick release, which I kind of wish it did have. It has this locking mechanism here. I would rather switch. I would rather that they got rid of the locking mechanism, because I've never had a problem with any of these other ones, like, you know, not locking. So I would prefer to get rid of the locking mechanism and give us a quick release. However, the quick release has to be done good, because otherwise you get like bolts that strip and stuff like that. So it's gotta be of a good quality. So we got the same deal here with this one, where now this one I don't have the option of putting a riser in there. So what this one I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna lift it up just a little bit. So again, it's gonna be slightly offset. All right, so now we're in 5x. And yeah, it's kind of like that 6x before, right? With this Feyachi. I mean, I just get on there and I'm not going back and forth, like trying to move my head back and forth with trying to get out of the shadow. And like I said, this one it's not locked into place right now, okay? Because that's locked. I have it slightly lifted, right? Because I needed a little bit more height, okay? But it's offset to the right a little bit. Okay. And despite the fact that it's offset to the right a little bit, oops, fell on me. Like, I can get on there and I'm not seeing shadow. So one of the things that I think they should consider doing is like in the future version, right? Like I said, get rid of the locking mechanism and just give us the ability to put a riser in there, because that's going to be a lot more useful, because all these different optics, and they all have a different concept of, like, all these different manufacturers, what's an absolute co-witness and what's a lower 1/3 witness, you know, and like I can never get two optics from different manufacturers that are like at same consistent height. But let's do this. Let's get this guy off. And let's get this guy on. So here we've got the Holosun 503G. It's got the ACSS reticle. I've done lots of reviews on this one. This one has really great parallax. So let's do the same thing now. Let's do it in reverse now, okay? So let's get that Feyachi back here. So this is like I said, this is a really good optic. It's got an ACSS reticle, so it's got a bullet drop compensator. It's got that 65 MOA circle, and it's got really good parallax. It's like I did a video the other day where I was moving my head to the extremes. It moves like less. It's on par with the aim point, where they move less than 3 MOA if your head's going left to right, up and down, to the extremes. Now, even the aim point, right? When you do these massive parallax tests, where you're making these massive movements, even the aim point moves. So this was on par with the aim point. So again, I get on it. So here's the thing: when you go to the tube, right, from a big window optic to a tube, I mean, now you got constriction issues. So yeah, this is definitely not as the tube optic with the magnifier is definitely not as easy to work with as these big window optics. Okay, they're lighter, but anyway, I'm getting on it, and I'm not seeing like shadow, not seeing scope shadow. I'm able to get on it. And now the snow's coming down pretty good, so I'm looking through snow. All right, so that's the Feyachi. This is a budget $80 one. Now, since this is a variable, hold on, let me put this back on there. When I go down to, let's say, 3 magnification, okay, it actually constricts more. I seem to struggle more on the less magnification. So I'm not getting that wider field of view. Same thing, if I go all the way down to 1.5, like it feels like it's been constricted even more. So the best thing to do with this one is just keep it at 5. Which I guess the best feedback I think I can give to Feyachi is, since the lower magnifications do not give an advantage, they don't give a wider field of view, get rid of the variable and just stick to 5x. Make this a straight 5x. Get rid of the locking mechanism, you know. Instead, give us like maybe a riser or 2 in there so we can get different heights. And if they get rid of the variable 1.5 to 5, that's going to make the magnifier a lot cheaper, and they'll be able to use that money to put into the other 2 things, right? Let's go to the Holosun. Right, Holosun. So again, we're looking at a tube optic here. So yeah, as soon as I get on it, man, I'm like, you know, it's not as easy as the big window optic. I mean, big window optics rule the day when it comes to getting on it. But this does have that ACSS reticle, so it, you know, it's worth having that ACSS. I wish they would put this reticle with the bullet drop in the big window optics, because as far as I know, there's no big window optic that gives you, you know, the chevron with 3 dots underneath it. All right, let's go to EOTech. EOTech. Now EOTech, because it's got that horrible eye relief, I gotta move this all as far back as possible for this to even have a chance. There you go. All right, so we're gonna get on the gun, and I gotta move my hat out of the way because I'm struggling with this eye relief. And this is like, as soon as I get on this, right, all of a sudden it's like I'm seeing like almost a blur at the edges. Like, I gotta get really in there. I gotta put my eyeball on this thing. Like, so I gotta like really shorten this over here, the brace or stock, whatever this is. If you shoot this with a 308, man, you're gonna get this glass in your face, right? You're gonna end up with a scope cut. Shoot like a 308 or something more powerful. But I gotta be on this, like way in there, so that as soon as I get on this gun, I don't see that shadow around the edges. Yeah, I gotta be way in there. So now, one of the things I do like about the EOTech is it's got these big buttons over here. These big round knobs for centering it, right? These aren't for zeroing. You use your zero on the optic. You use these knobs to shift the image up, down, left, right. So, because sometimes, you know, it could be like all the way to the bottom, right? So this is for centering. You center it. So this has really nice big knobs, so that if I need to adjust it, I don't have to go looking for tools like I got here, right? These other ones, I gotta find tools, or I gotta have a penny or something. So that's the thing I like the most about the EOTech. And quite honestly, I don't like anything else about it. I mean, that's my honest opinion, okay? Even if you are like an EOTech person, right, where you gotta have an EOTech holographic, right? I would match it up with something else, and I would match it up with the Holosun. Actually, this one is the one with riser height. I need the one with the riser now. Okay, I would match up that EOTech with this Holosun. That's gonna be a lot more easy to work with. Okay, it's gonna be a lot more easy to work with. I mean, I think I might even take this Feyachi over the EOTech magnifier. Now, the problem here is that the height isn't right, so I have to like lift it up and then kind of offset it. So that's not perfect, but yeah, even here, man. I mean, as far as just getting on the gun, like getting off it and getting on it, $80 Feyachi, $80 Feyachi, right? in that 5X is beating the $500 EOTech. Okay, so guys, do yourself a favor. Don't buy an EOTech magnifier. The G3, I mean, forget. I mean, anything will beat that. Okay, like I said, the only benefit of this is the knobs. Okay, and I don't get paid by any of these companies. You know, I don't have any. You know, I'm just. You know, I just like being able to recommend the best equipment, right? So, you know, the EOTech magnifier is not it. And here's the thing, like somebody might come along and say, hey, but this is battle tested, right? Battle proven. I can guarantee you that if this gets run over by a truck, okay, or a tank, it's not gonna work, okay? So both the Holosun, right, the Feyachi, the Vortex I got here, right, all of these guys, oh, that's Feyachi's already on there. All these guys, if they get run over by a truck or a tank, they're going to get equally damaged. It's probably more useful in the combat situation to have more things, you know, like a lot more cheaper, reliable things that work decently than to have like one big, super expensive thing that, like, okay, that's the only thing that you have, and now if it gets damaged, if you have to abandon it, if it gets stolen, if it gets confiscated, whatever, you know, now you got nothing, okay? And also, if you got more stuff that's cheaper, you know, you can arm, you know, other family members, neighbors. So more guns will always beat more expensive, you know, a few more expensive guns, right? So more guns shooting will usually beat one super Gucci gun that's shooting. So those are my thoughts on that. I gotta get these guns out of the snow. I mean, it always seems like it starts snowing, you know, right when I want to do something.